G'day, I'm Lloyd from Lloyd Music and welcome to the Lloyd Music Arranging Package. This arranging package consists of 24 video lessons which will cover the basics of arranging and will include various techniques used by arrangers when arranging for virtually any ensemble and in many of the current music styles, including basic swing or jazz, right up to the middle-of-the-road popular music of today. You will also gain much benefit from this course that can be applied to a more classical style of writing. I'm confident that at the end of the 24 lessons, you will have enough knowledge and skill to be able to arrange for virtually any ensemble you wish and in a number of styles. I need to point out up front that this package does not cover instrumentation. Briefly, instrumentation is the study of the various instruments, their transpositions, effective ranges, idiosyncrasies and the like. Whilst I will on occasions cover some aspects of instrumentation, it is assumed that you already have a working knowledge of instrumentation. If not, there are plenty of good books on the subject for you to search out. Also, it is assumed you have a good understanding of the basics of harmony, at least up to and including elementary modulation. If your knowledge of harmony needs improving, I can recommend the Lloyd Music Harmony Package to you as a great way to cover both the basics of harmony along with many important hints and tips that will be invaluable to you in your study of arranging. Lastly, it's also assumed you have a thorough knowledge of music theory, in particular major, harmonic, melodic and natural minor scales, key signatures and time signatures, and understand the correct grouping of notes and rests in both simple and compound time. Adding sevenths to the four basic chords. Firstly, you'll notice that our basic three-note chords are constructed with a third between the tonic and third, and another third between the third and fifth. This is an important feature of most of the chords used in Western music. That is, their construction is thirds on top of thirds. With this in mind, to add sevenths to all our basic chords, simply add another third above each of them. By adding the additional third, we produce the interval of a seventh between the tonic of the chord and this added note. Hence, all these chords are termed seventh chords. On closer inspection, you'll see that the distance between the tonic of the chord and this seventh can be different from chord to chord. In chord 1, it's a major seventh, whereas in chord 2, it's a minor seventh. Chord 3, it's a minor seventh. Now the seventh chord's formed with the natural minor scale. In the first chord, the seventh is a minor seventh. Chord 2, a minor seventh. Finally, the chords formed with the melodic minor scale. Before I play these chords, because the melodic minor scale uses both a raised sixth and seventh, along with the according to key sixth and seventh, we have an awful lot of chords available to us because these two notes affect both the basic three-note chords as well as the sevenths. In the first chord, the added seventh can be a minor seventh or a major seventh. Let's take that first progression in the major key and adjust the passing notes so they form part of the chords. Here's how that progression would sound if it were to be played by, say, the Eagles. Notating a major seventh chord symbol is thankfully very easy for us. Firstly, we write down the tonic of the basic major chord, which, as we already know, identifies the notes of the basic chord, to which we add the small letters MAJ or MA, which is the abbreviation for the word major, followed by the number 7. It is important that you are clear in your mind that the abbreviation MAJ or MA refers to the number 7, not to the basic chord. the augmented 7th chord. I've left this chord until now because I felt the last lesson there was an awful lot of information to take in, and all the chords we discussed were drawn from the major scale and the harmonic minor scale. Not so the augmented 7th chord, which is a fairly popular chord. The augmented 7th chord came about by altering one of the notes of the dominant 7th chord chromatically so that the chord led. This time we're going to add a chromatic note on the second chord, the D minor chord, and have the A move from A through A flat down to the G, another chromatic movement. So have a look at that on the screen and have a listen to it now. The D minor chord, where we have the A moving to the A flat, you may recognise that that is chord 2 of C minor. Now we're in the key of C major, and we've just borrowed chord 2 from C minor, and we know that chord 2 in C minor goes beautifully to chord 5 in C minor, and we know that chord 5 in C minor is exactly the same chord in C major. So therefore this chord G goes to C major again, and that's how it works. So we've got chord 2 in C major plus the 7th, then chord 2 in C minor plus the 7th. That goes to chord 5 in C minor, and chord 5 in C minor is exactly the same as chord 5 in C major. So it should resolve to C major via the augmented passing note, which it does. So we finish up with C major 7, D minor 7, which is 2 in C major. An 11th chord is formed by adding another third on top of all our 9th chords. I'm hoping you can see how complex 11th chords can become when you take into consideration that the 7th can be major or minor, the 9th can be major, minor or augmented, and the 11th can be perfect, diminished or augmented. The chord symbol for the minor 11th chord sees the number 11 simply added to the tonic chord. Again, the basic chord is initially qualified, in this case C minor, to which you add a perfect 11th. An added minor 7th and major 9th are automatically assumed to be part of the chord, although either or both can be omitted. I'll explain why in later lessons. If you don't want the 7th and 9th in the chord, then it's a simple matter of writing, again in this case, with or without brackets. The only 13th chords I will cover will be the two that form on the dominant chord of the major and harmonic minor scales, again due to them being the most often used. They have the dominant 7th chord as their basis, so they're known as dominant 13th chords. Given all the knowledge you now have, covering these two chords will be very easy. In dominant 13th chords, some notes are compulsory and some are optional. The compulsory notes are the tonic, major 3rd, minor 7th, and of course the 13th, which in the major key is a major 13th and in the minor key is a minor 13th. So what may initially appear to be a large chord, note-wise, really only needs 4 notes to give the correct oral sound. Have a listen to the dominant 13th chord in the key of F major, followed by the same chord with only the 4 compulsory notes, key orientation first. Just the two chords now, one after the other. Have a listen to the dominant 13th chord in the key of F minor, followed by the same chord again with only the 4 compulsory notes, key orientation first. Just the two chords now, one after the other. Again, the 5th and 9th